Live from New York, here is I've Got a Secret, starring Steve Allen.
Good evening and welcome to I've Got a Secret. Just a moment. Hello? Who's this? Oh, Mayor Lindsay, sir. How are you, sir? Yes, I'm glad you called. Don't worry about a thing. We'll have the trains running in the morning. Yes, this is Michael Quill. Would you believe Barry Fitzgerald? All right, we'll get back to these phones in just a minute, Pat. Those are real phones. That was a fake joke, but those are real phones. And first, however, in the order of business, I have some envelopes here I want to deliver to the panel, at which time we'll meet Betsy Palmer and Bill Cullen and Bess Meyerson and Henry Morgan. And that's our panel. Now, panel, those envelopes contain the predictions that we asked all of you to make, you remember, for the year 1965. And a little later tonight, we'll find out just how well you did. But right now, we're going to give you another chance to make some predictions, and also you folks at home. So if you'll get pencil and paper, or whatever you want to write with, you can play right along with the panel. Because unlike last time, we don't have to wait a whole year for our results. That's where those telephones we showed you come in. And here to explain how it's all going to work is our special guest for tonight. He's just returned from 2 weeks in Vietnam, incidentally, where he entertained our troops. And you'll soon be seeing him in the new movie called 10 Little Indians. Here is Hugh O'Brian again. Jump in, Hugh. Nice to have you with us.
Nice to have you.
I don't want you to drop that because the panel's going to have to concentrate on that object a little bit later.
It's a heavy object.
When is 10 Little Indians opening, by the way?
Around the country in about the middle of January, and then it opens in New York area about the 5th or so of February.
Well, we've heard some great things about it.
Made in Ireland. It's Agatha Christie's wonderful mystery comedy, and I think people will have fun watching it.
Sure they will. Now, what's in store for us tonight, Hugh?
Well, it looks like a lot of fun, at least I hope so. As you can see, each one of these phones over there, they are hooked up to a different part of the world. And I'm going to ask the panel to make predictions about events that are taking place in each of those locations right at this very moment. And then we'll check with the people on those phones to find out how well the panel did. Huh?
Sounds exciting. And as I said, the audience at home can play the game and test themselves competing against the panel if you want to play it that way. What are the questions?
Well, for the first question, we go to San Francisco. About 5 minutes ago at exactly 5 o'clock California time, Macy's department store in downtown San Francisco announced over the store's loudspeaker system that the price of these hurricane lamps was being marked down from $5 to $2. And we'd like you to predict how many of these lamps they will sell by the time we telephone the store in about 20 minutes from now.
Can I ask
Yes,
a
Betsy?
question, though, please? Because that's not a hurricane lamp. That's a kerosene lamp.
I knew we'd have
And that
trouble.
would make a difference.
Well, in that place, then we're canceling our entire program.
No, it's serious.
Don't sell them.
Whatever it is, how many will
No,
we
but
sell?
is that really, were they selling hurricane or kerosene lamps?
These
I think
things.
they're selling kerosene lamps.
Ah.
This is a special order we put in.
All right.
These
There are not
things.
many people with kerosene, you know.
They're hurricane kerosene lamps.
All right. Hurricanes, yes.
Now, don't show anybody your answer, all right?
We write
You
it
just
down?
write it down, and how many lamps will they sell in 25 minutes?
Write your answer right now, if you
In
would.
25 minutes?
25 minutes
Kerosene
from
lamps,
now. Okay?
What's the next one, Hugh?
Well, we're in touch with the Marriage License Bureau. Oh, I'm fond of this one. At City Hall in Los Angeles, California. Now, the Bureau closed just a few minutes ago at 5 p.m. California time. And since then, they've been computing the number of marriage licenses applied for since they opened at 9 o'clock this morning. Now, panel, how many marriage licenses do you think were issued during the past 8-hour period?
Just go right ahead, panel, and write your answers down, and we'll move on to the next
In Los
question.
Angeles.
An 8-hour period?
Yeah, here we go now with the next one.
Next, we go to the control tower at Kennedy Airport here in New York, where the Federal Aviation Operations Supervisor will be able to tell us exactly how many people will actually be in the air in airplanes over New York City at 8:15, or about 8 minutes from now. This covers a 50-mile radius from the Empire State Building.
Got that, panel? That's the number of people in the air over New York at 8:15. And they're writing their answers down. So, Hugh, what's the next one?
Well, this is a two-part question. Also at 8:15, how many people will be in the air all over the continental United States?
Where?
And the
At the same
FAA
time,
can give us that figure, can it?
Yeah, they can, and it'll be an estimate worked out by a computer. Actually, the people over New York City will be an actual figure.
I see. Okay, what's the next question?
Well, the phone over there that's marked Australia is connected with NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. They're in touch with the space tracking stations in Canberra, Australia, which is one of the busiest stations at this time of day. The question they will answer for us is, between the time we went on the air and the time we call Australia, in about 20 minutes from now, how many man-made satellites will cross the radar screen of their tracking station?
20-minute period, how many man-made satellites?
That's Canberra, Australia.
Okay. They're writing their answers there now. And we'll move along to the next question. We'll find out.
For this one, we go to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where just a few moments ago an important conference basketball game began between the University of North Carolina and the University of Maryland. The game began at 8 o'clock, and we'll make contact with our man in the press box at 8:20. Now, what do you think will be the combined total number of points scored during the first 20 minutes of play? Combined.
First 20 minutes. They got that one down, and we move along to the next. Incidentally, I should add for you sports fans out there that those 20 minutes of clock time will actually boil down to about 10 or 12 minutes of playing time because of timeouts, foul shots, uniforms that don't fit, and that kind of stuff.
Now you tell us.
Now.
What's next?
Well, this next one is the telephone with the question mark below it over there. It will be receiving a call from a man who is someplace outside the United States where gambling is legal. Now, exactly 5 hours ago, he walked up to a slot machine with a sack of 500 nickels. That's 25 bucks worth, huh? And he was instructed to play the same slot machine continuously until it was time to call us. Now, at the time he calls us, how many jackpots will he have hit?
That's in a 5-hour period, pal.
5 hours?
Where is this?
It doesn't matter where
It's
it is.
outside the
Well,
continental
some
United
places
5
win
hours.
more than others.
Yeah, that's
25 bucks. And also, the second part of the question, how much money will he have?
How much was it? With
What's the
dollars?
jackpot worth?
Dollars?
Now, the jackpot is worth $7.50, and he was given a total of $25 to start with, in nickels.
Okay, 5 hours ago, and how many jackpots did he hit, and how much money does he have now?
Yeah.
Does that do it, Hugh? Is that all?
That does it for now, but I'll be back in a few minutes to pick up the phones, and we'll just see how well everybody out there did and how well our panel did.
That's fair enough. The whole country can play this game, so we'll be right back and get to it in just a minute to play I've Got a Secret right after this message. And now, while Hugh is checking on his long-distance phone calls here and there, we'll bring out our first contestant. Make yourself comfortable there. Sit right down and tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is John Winpenny, and I'm from Hatfield in England.
Mr. Winpenny is an aeronautical engineer, and in addition to designing planes, panel and ladies and gentlemen, he also flies them. And he recently completed a flight that set a truly remarkable aviation record. So, Mr. Winpenny, if you'll whisper to me, we'll show the people at home just what you did. I see. There's a little more on this one. Well, the clue to Mr. Winpenny's secret concerns something he did, and we'll begin with Betsy Palmer.
Mr. Winpenny, did you do this alone?
Yes, I did.
Did you do this in an aeroplane?
Yes.
Did you do this in a plane that was more than 2 engines?
Oh, no, no.
You did this in a... What is that?
$20 down. Bill Cullen?
This does concern a flight that Mr. Winpenny made, doesn't it?
It does.
Was this flight unusual, Mr. Winpenny, in the fact that you didn't get anywhere? I mean, physically from here to there?
No, I did get somewhere.
Was it a tremendous distance as opposed to a small distance that you got?
Well, it was an appreciable distance.
Distance is a very relative concept, of course.
Would we be interested in the attitude of your plane when you made the flight?
I think you would, yes.
Did you fly it backwards?
Oh, no, no,
Upside down?
no.
What other way is there? Vertically? The attitude of your plane was unusual. Did the attitude of your plane change as you made the flight?
Not significantly.
Can't go with him.
$40 down. Bess?
Now, that might have been what the audience was amused at, Mr. Winpenny, yes? Did you go in circles?
No, not in this particular occasion.
Did you, you left one point and reached your destination, did you?
Well, you could call it that, yes.
Did you land unexpectedly?
No.
Now, but should we pursue this attitude business, the way the... No?
No.
Steve says no. Did it have engines, by the way?
Not in the usual sense.
Ah, was it a glider in that sense?
Well, something like, yes.
Something like it. Did
$60 down. Henry?
Did this have what we would recognize as a normal silhouette?
I'm sorry, I don't quite get that question.
Which part? Did it look like an airplane?
Oh, yes, it did.
All right. Now, it did not have an engine in the usual sense.
No.
Was it rubber bands?
No.
Did it have a propeller?
It did, yes.
And is there something odd about what drove the propeller?
Yes.
Precisely.
Was it your feet?
Yes. Mr. Winpenny, one part of the record that you set with your airplane involved distance. Would you tell the panel just how far you flew to establish that record?
Just over half a mile, 993 yards.
And your speed at that occasion?
About 19.5 miles an hour.
I see. And what was your altitude?
About 5 feet.
As you can see, that's a pretty wild record. And seriously considering the fact that, as Henry has ascertained, the plane had no regular motor, and he made the takeoff for this flight by actually turning the propellers using pedals with his feet. Now, we have some film of Mr. Winpenny's famous flight, and we're going to show it to you right now. While the film is rolling, Mr. Winpenny, perhaps you can explain to us just what's happening. There comes the plane out of the hangar.
Well, here you see the machine being wheeled out from the hangar on a trolley, and you'll notice the very large span. In fact, it's comparable to the span of many airliners, 84 feet.
That is quite large.
And yet, despite the very large span, the machine is light. The whole weight is only 115 pounds, and if it weren't so awkward, you could in fact support the whole weight of the machine yourself.
What are the woods used?
Well, the wing spars are of spruce, but all the rest of it is of balsa wood.
I see. And this is you getting into the...
That is right, yes. You see there the triangulated magnesium structure supporting the pilot.
Do you put your pants on after you get into the plane, or what do I see? Oh, that's another man. I see.
Now, you remove as much clothing as possible on getting in to reduce weight.
And the minute you hit the ground, you're arrested.
This is just getting ready before the takeoff, which you'll see shortly.
I see.
And here we're placing the canopy fairing over the pilot.
You go into the wind?
Streamline it. Yes, you have to take off into wind, although we prefer to fly with hardly any wind at all.
Oh.
And this is a sight placed ahead of the machine, which helps you to keep it level.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the team of helpers, of whom we had many. That is the airspeed indicator. He's moving there.
Mm-hmm.
There you see the view that the pilot has.
I see. And there you go.
And there it's being carried out by the ground helpers prior to takeoff.
It's going backwards at the moment.
Yes, that's right. Now, there we are. We've just taken off. You see, the height is quite small to start with, but it's being pedaled just like a bicycle, but, of course, you're having to control it as well via the handlebars.
Remarkable.
Now, there the height is becoming a bit more appreciable. There's your average height of about 5 feet and going nice and steadily.
It's quite something. I'm sure just about everyone watching Mr. Winpenny is wondering why. Why have you tackled this unusual project?
Well, it's just something that's fascinated me, and the thing that really set me going was the offer of a £5,000 prize. It did make a difference.
I see. Did you get the 5,000?
Not yet, no. We're still hoping.
Why
we
not?
have to go, well, we have not been far enough. We have to go a mile and do a figure of 8.
Ah, I see. What will you do next, then?
After that, I think I shall rest on my laurels if I get that far.
I hope they're not broken by that time. Thanks very much for joining us tonight, Mr. We'll be back after this message. Well, now, panel and ladies and gentlemen around the country, we're all set to see how well we did on our predictions. So if you have your cards in order, we'll reintroduce our friend Hugh O'Brian. Here he is. Well, Hugh, up to now it's been a lot of fun, but now we see if we got any of these calls through. If not, it'll get pretty quiet around here.
Now we look for a miracle.
Yes.
Macy's in San Francisco first, huh?
Yes, we wanted to find out how many of those lamps they sold.
The kerosene lamps.
Yes.
Yes.
How many lamps since 8 o'clock,
See if we
right?
have her on. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Panel, while he's finding out the correct answer, let's find out what your answers were. Betsy guessed 150. Bill Collins said 986. Boy. Bess said 72, and Henry said 64. You have anybody on the line?
Yeah, we have a Miss Marianne Tremblay, who's a store manager at Macy's. Marianne, what is the total number of lamps that you've sold?
We sold 29.
How much?
29 out of 50 in the last 25 minutes.
29 they sold.
Very good, and Henry is the closest with 64.
There are 11 people in line waiting to buy. Tell me something. How many lamps do you think you would have sold if you didn't cut the price, huh?
I don't know. They were on the 5th floor, probably about 5.
I bet you could sell a lot on the back here in New York because nobody's too sure about the power now.
Well, Marianne, thank you very, very much. A Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
The next question, we will get the answer to it on this line through to Los Angeles, Hugh. The question, of course, was how many marriage licenses have been issued this entire day in L.A., and Hugh's going to see if he can find that out. And let's find out first what the panel's guesses were. Betsy said 626. Bill said only 62. Bess said 420. And Henry Morgan said 350. Okay, Hugh O'Brien.
Miss Moody?
Yeah.
This is Hugh O'Brien, and we're calling to find out how many marriage licenses were taken out today. How many?
Well, it was very small today. The smallest in the year was only 109.
Only 109.
Yes.
109, and I guess that's Bill Cullen at the 62 point, who's close.
I thought the first of the year would be a
How many did you issue last year?
53,247.
No, it was a bad day all over.
It was a bad day today.
Well, things will pick up, honey. Nice talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
a Happy New Year, Miss Moody.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Now, the third question that you put to us was this. How many people are at this moment in planes flying over New York? So Hugh is checking with Kennedy Airport, the headquarters. Now we'll see what the guesses are. Betsy guessed 1,069. Bill Cullen said 4,927. Bess said 2,563. And Henry said about 1,500.
Steve, we have Mike Mitsakos, who's the operations officer out at Kennedy. And Mike, how many people are there at the moment in the air over New York?
There are 3,100 to 3,200 people flying within a 50-mile radius of the Empire State Building at the present time.
How about that?
It's pretty crowded up there, and that means that at 2,563, Bess Myerson was the closest.
Now listen, we're going to hold on for a minute while you hold on for a second with me while I check and see this next part of the question here about the official number over the continental United States. So just hold on for a second.
Let's find out what the panel thought was the number of people flying all over the country, up in the air at this very moment. Betsy said... Skillions. Bill said scallions. No, he said 49,726. Bess's guess was 20,000, and Henry said 10,000.
Mine is a stupid guess. How many people are there over the continental United States at this point? Up in the air, that is, with planes.
On our side.
From 40 to 43,000 people flying above the continental United States at this time.
40 to 43,000. And who wins that?
Betsy does with Skillions. That's Skillion is 43,000. No, Bill Cullen.
That's a tremendous number of people up in the air at one time. Is that kind of, is that average, would you say, for about...
Yes, sir, it is.
You don't think the subway strike had anything to do with it?
No, sir.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, sir.
See you up there sometime. Bye-bye.
Hey, that guy, speaking of the subway strike, that guy's airplane would solve a lot of things, wouldn't it? You just pedal to work and come right down 6th Avenue that way. Okay, the next call.
Long ways. We're going all the way to Australia.
No, this is the North Carolina call. Although they may be able to put you through.
I think we had...
Oh, is that you have Australia?
Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, we have the wrong sign here, I guess.
All right.
The question is, how many man-made objects outside of the sign? How many man-made objects have been picked up on the radar screen in Canberra?
But he's calling North Carolina.
That's not going to help.
Yeah, we got Australia.
He has
on the line.
Australia. It's the piece of cardboard that's wrong. He was right.
Yeah.
I'll take a man over a piece
The
of
fellow
cardboard
in
anytime.
Australia's right, and I'm right. The cardboard's wrong.
And the man in Canberra says the score is 28-13. How do you like that? That's why people are paying attention. No, how many man-made objects?
Just a second. We'll be right with you.
Betsy says 13, Bill says 9, Bess says 7, and Henry says 3.
And how many, sir, in Australia, if you can hear me, how many satellites were visible on your screens in the past half hour?
This is the State Director on State Station 21, located near Canberra, Australia.
21, did you say?
Period, the total of 8 non-scientific spacecraft will be visible at this station, and we are providing support to 5 out of the 8.
How many satellites were visible?
The number visible is 8, and we are providing support to 5 of them.
But only 8 were visible on your screens.
That's me.
Only 8 were visible at this station.
Bill and Bess are then tied at 9 and 7 if the answer is 8.
Just out of curiosity, what is the total number of man-made objects presently orbiting the Earth? The total number of objects orbiting the Earth.
This is a good question. As far as I know, the total number currently in space is 918.
How much?
918.
The spacecraft final stage boosters and other debris.
Did you say 918, sir?
Providing support to 75 of the NASA scientific spacecraft in Earth orbit.
Well, we're glad you are, sir. That's 918. Thank you very, very much, sir, and a very happy New Year to everybody in Australia.
When it gets there.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Imagine that, 918 things that man has made swirling around up there.
It's really getting crowded.
Including my uncle. That's
Now the basketball.
Now we go to that basketball game that's not being played in Australia, despite what you read.
Hi.
The combined total of points scored in the North Carolina-Maryland basketball game up to now. Betsy says 12, Bill Cullen 61, Bess 43, and Henry says 45.
We have Bob Quincy, Steve, in North Carolina. Bob, you're in the press box. What is the total points scored in the game between North Carolina and Maryland at this point?
Hugh, this is rather amazing. 32 points have been scored after 15 minutes of basketball. A real pitcher's duel. North Carolina 17, Maryland 15.
32?
What was that score again?
North Carolina 17, Maryland 15.
Boy, what a game that is.
And Bess Myerson is closest with 43. And now to somewhere out there in gambling land, wherever that is, we turn to our man. The question was, how many jackpots has this fellow with $25 in nickels won in 5 hours? How many jackpots? Betsy said 30, Bill said 26, Bess 18, and Henry 10.
Rodney, crushed, correct? And you're in a casino someplace out of the United States. And how many jackpots have you had?
I've had 4.
Oh, 4.
Very bad night.
Who won, Steve? Henry Morgan was closest with a guess of 10. And we have time for just one more. The question was, lastly, how much money does he have now? Betsy said 25, Bill said 736. That says $26,080?
No,
$2,680. And Henry says he's broke.
Rodney, how much money do you have left?
I have $26.
$26.
Betsy almost has it on the button there. $25.
How about that? Use up the money. Have a ball. Put it back in the machine.
Okay.
Happy New Year to you. Bye-bye.
Oh, dear. Well, we'll be back in just a moment. Hugh, that was a fascinating experiment. Thanks so much for working it out with us. Hugh O'Brian. We'll be right back after this minute. Lastly, panel, we're going to ask you to guess how many times this lighter will not light out of 5 things. I'll give it 5 tries. Ready?
All right.
Okay, Henry, what's your guess?
It'll light all 5.
All right. Bess?
It'll light the 3rd time.
It'll never light.
5.
You know whose lighter it is.
Here we go. 1, it made it that time.
I'm wrong.
2, right. Made it that time. 3, did it again. 4, did it again.
You're a
5.
genius.
Henry, next week, our guest will be the King family, incidentally, and I hope you out there, too. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night, panel.
I've got Got a Secret has been brought to you tonight by General Foods, makers of Sanka Coffee, rich flavor yet 97% caffeine-free, and Dream Whip, the delicious whipped topping mix from General Foods. Miss Myerson's Gown by Cameo.
1 week from tomorrow, watch for the premiere of Daktari, the exciting new African adventure series in color starring Marshall Thompson and a wonderful cast of animals headed by Clarence, the cross-eyed lion. Keep a date with Daktari 1 week from tomorrow.
John Cannon speaking.